Shalom. I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Bar Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the elders of GMS, and shalom to all the brothers of the election. Alright, this video is going to be about the word eugenics. I'm going to study that and break it down and find out what it means. This right here is the logo for eugenics. The eugenicists, they're all about birth control, and they basically are the people behind that are the action hand behind the first commandment on the Georgia Guidestones to maintain humanity underneath 500 million. Yeah. So now the word eugenics goes back to, it's of Greek origin, from Eugenes, meaning well born, of good stock, of noble race. But when you really break it down, it means eu, meaning good, and then genus, which means seed, race. That's where we get the word gene. And you know, you get your gene from your father, which carries a sperm. Yeah. So it's a good seed, really. So now we know, according to the Bible, that these people, the Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, Panamanians, so on and so forth, are the true good seed of this earth. They are the 12 tribes of Israel, the men of the Bible that are spoken of. And they were the only ones set up to be good. Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art an holy people to the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Plain and simple. Matthew, this is the parable of the tares on the wheat. I'm just going to read 24, the first verse and the 30th verse on this sheet, this paragraph here. You can read it if you're not familiar with it. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Okay, the seed that was sowed in his field is the 12 tribes of Israel, and the field is the earth. Now this is verse 30. Let both grow together. It's talking about the tares and the wheat, because it tells you an enemy came and sowed his seed, and that's Esau. Yeah. In our field, that was a time of slavery when he raped our women. Let both grow together until the harvest, which is the end of the world. And in the time of the harvest, I will say unto the reapers, gather ye together the first of tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. So that all these tares are going to be gathered together through what? The destruction, and they're going to be burned. Because, like it says, but gather the wheat into my barn. They're going to be taken up into the chariots, and they're going to come back in the kingdom of heaven. All the ones that die as well. So all the wheat's going to be produced in the kingdom. That's the barn. Okay. Now this is a poster from eugenics, and this shows you right there. Only healthy seed must be sown. This is Esau sowing his seed in that field. You know that he did, because he was trying to breed out Jake, because he was trying to take over, completely exterminate us. Yeah. Now, check the seeds of hereditary disease and unfitness by eugenics. It's just a spirit as well, because look, the guy's walking. That's like, he talks about Jake right at the bottom, and he's stepping over that, because it says the seeds of hereditary disease and unfitness. Those are some buzzwords of eugenics. That's like their keywords in their vocabulary. And they're talking about Jake when they say that. And the healthy seed, so-called healthy seed, they're talking about is their own seed. Okay. But this word, the way they present it, eugenics, it goes back to a guy called Sir Francis. I'm only saying Sir, so you know that this guy was knighted, and that the people in the elite power structure were down with what it was about. And it was coined in 1883, along with the adjective eugenic, because, like I said, that's a describing word. That's a way of, an adjective is a so-called describing word that that could only describe the nation of Israel. Yeah, by English scientist Francis Galton. And this guy was a cousin to Albert Einstein. He was a pivotal scientist in English history, basically, and he was all about eugenics. These are some of his quotes. It has now become a serious necessity to better the breed of the human race. The average citizen is too base for everyday work in a modern civilization. So let's see who's talking about. Galton was vague about the constituted baseness. But to him, civilized man was epitomized by the English upper classes. They were the respiratory of virtually all that is biologically precious in the English nation and possibly in mankind, and it really is in mankind to them, because they're the only people that want to see flourishing on the earth. They want to destroy everything. Like I said right at the beginning, Georgia Guidestones. Okay, so what they're practicing is class endogamy. Yeah, so they're basically they want to keep the upper class and keep that away from getting tainted, because these upperclassmen know about reincarnation and know about keeping it in the family. Okay, so class endogamy is one of the more widespread forms. It refers to the marrying within particular class. That's one of the things they do. For examples, explore the wedding announcements in a large metropolitan newspaper and typically document unions of wealthy and powerful individuals. Cultural values often enforce this form, with practitioners seeking out partners with similar beliefs and life histories. If you're rich, then they want to be with you, because that's it. Finally, lineage endogamy refers to keeping marriages within an extended family, which they also practice. Because you going back to the Kaisers of Kaiser Wilhelm during the time of imperialism before World War One, when Kaiser Wilhelm made war, all of those different emperors, kings, princes, they were all related. They were like second and first cousins because they were marrying in. They kept it in the family, the power. So this is Psalm 17:14. From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Okay, and that's what they're doing currently. That's what they're practicing. What I just read about class endogamy. That's the scripture that shows they're practicing that. Now back to this bastard Galton. The number among the Negroes of those whom we should call half-witted men is very large. Every book alluding to Negro servants in America is full of instances. I was myself much impressed by this fact during my travels in Africa. And by the way, we're not Africans. Yeah, we were on the west coast of Africa, but we're not Africans. The mistakes the Negroes made in their own matters were so childish, stupid, and simpleton-like as frequently to make me ashamed of my own species. Okay, so he was ashamed of the human race off the back of Jake, basically. But now this is Satan himself incarnated Margaret Sanger, who was at the figurehead of the modern day eugenics. She was the one that basically set up a acronym company, which I can't recall. I believe in the 1920s, could be 1921, and then the name got turned into Planned Parenthood eventually. Okay, so now this is what this bitch said. It remains for the US government to set a sensible example to the world by offering a bonus or yearly pension. Now this was an example that she wanted the US government to do for the world. A yearly pension to all obviously unfit parents who allow themselves to be sterilized by harmless and scientific means. The unfit parents they're talking about are who? Jake. Yeah, that's who they're talking about. In this way, the moron, Jake again, and the disease, Jake again, would have no posterity to inherit their unhappy condition. And that tells you in Matthew 5 that the only people that are in a lowly, unhappy condition, the number of who Christ come for, and that's Israel, and they are the ones in a lowly, unhappy condition. The number of feeble-minded, another key word, would decrease and a heavy burden would be lifted from the shoulders of the fit. Who are they talking about? They're talking about their own selves. They're talking about these Edomites. Are talking about themselves, man. And the Edomites are the so-called white men. Hey, it's another quote. We should hire 3 or 4 colored ministers, preferably with social service backgrounds and with engaging personalities. Yeah, the most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal, because they know, according to Romans 10:2, that we have a zeal to the Most High, but not according to knowledge, because that you can always affect. That's how you can get through to Jake, through so-called religion, like Caesar. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population and a minister is a man who can straighten out the idea if it ever occurs that any of their more religious occurs to any of their more rebellious members, because how are they going to quell it? They're going to use the scripture Romans 13:1, be subject to the powers that be, because the Most High put them in that power. Yeah. So now this is a quote. This is the headline of a article I want to go into, because I just showed you Margaret Sanger's quotes. She's the figurehead, like I said, of this eugenics, and the UN right here are part of the council that want to keep Jake down in the modern day, because it's part of the beast. They're part of the beast. Okay, UN says access to birth control is a universal human right. Now they're basically trying to pull the wool over your eyes and basically make you go and get that they're trying to pull the wool over your own eyes and basically make you go out there and get go and get down with this abortion on your own back. Okay, so this is from Associated Press. I'm just gonna read a bit of this. If you want to read it, just read it full. Pause it and you can read it or look it up. The United Nations says access to contraception is a universal human right that could dramatically improve the lives of women and children in poor countries. It is the first time the UN Population Fund's annual report explicitly describes family planning as a human right. So they're saying you have the right. They've basically given the right to women and men to kill their own, to basically commit murder. Yeah. And you know the only people that are gonna go and do that is a so-called black woman, man. That's the only woman. That's what, and then a Latino woman, Native American. Okay. It effectively declares the legal, cultural and financial barriers to accessing contraception and other family planning measures are an infringement of women's rights. The report released Wednesday was binding and has no legal effect on national laws. The global body says increasing the funding of family planning by a further 4.1 billion could save 11.3 billion annually in health bills for mothers and newborns in poor countries. The UN doesn't count abortion among the measures, but they said birth control, because what people don't understand is what eugenics is anything that gears towards the killing of babies is eugenics. And as eugenics is really just for Jake, that's it. It's geared towards Jake. Absolutely. I've showed you already with Margaret Sanger. Showed you already with Margaret Sanger, that bitch right there. and that's it, man. Now this is even proof, because they said not abortion, but if you read what Frederick says right now, he said birth control and abortion are turning out to be great eugenic advances of our time. So that shows you right there that they're wanting the same thing for eugenicists, for forwarding the agenda to exterminate Jake. But also, why he's so happy about that, with his smile and his grin on his fucking face, is because over the 150 years the KKK was active, lynching Jake in America. In 4 days of them doors revolving in Planned Parenthood, the same amount of children are killed. So that's why they're saying this is a great advance for their time, and that ain't nothing new, because it all goes back to the scriptures. Exodus 1:15 is and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, which the name of one was Shipporah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stalls, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, and if it be a daughter, then ye shall say she shall live. Because what they could breed out, like the laws of war, you basically breed out the nation. That's like what we did down in Sicily during the time of the Moors, during the time when we ruled Europe. You breed out, you put the seed in their women, you breed out the whole race. The women ain't nothing but the earth We put our seed in that, and it shoots forth. That's what Esau did, because he knows that the he understands what the whole methodology behind it. I'm gonna jump to the last verse on this Exodus 1:22. And Pharaoh charged all these people, saying, "Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive." So after they didn't do it originally, he said all of them got to get thrown in the river. So basically, that's it right there. And also he had, during the time of Mordecai, he had Haran, I believe it is, during the time in the book of Esther, who basically sought to kill those. It's in the 3rd chapter of Esther, you can read it, where basically there was a day appointed for all the Jews, infants, men, women, old, no matter what, all the Jews to be killed in all the 128 or 27 provinces of the Persian Empire. That was a day appointed. So that's another form of eugenics in the Bible. But this is another obvious one. Matthew 2:16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth, and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So, and Herod was an Edomite as well. So he was doing the same thing that he's here today, he's probably doing the same thing right now, man. But this is all happening. The main reason why this is happening, I've proved that's in the Bible and it's happened before, but the reason why it's happening again is because you stupid Negroes, Hispanics and Native Americans basically do not adhere to what the Most High, your Father, is telling you to do. You're being disobedient children. So I'm going to read this, Deuteronomy 28:58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name of Yahweh, Allah, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, plagues of thy seed. That's what it's about, the good seed, eugenics. So these are plagues that are upon the seed. And that's even the plague on the seed is that they die. They when they're being conceived in a womb, they die. Every 4 days you got unspecified amount of Negroes, Hispanics and Native Americans dying inside the womb of their mother. Especially that dirty fucking nigger woman, man. The worst woman on the face of the earth. Every plague, even the great plagues and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring up upon thee all the diseases of Egypt which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy power. And it shall come to pass, as the Lord rejoice over you to do you good and multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked off the land whither thou goest to possess it. So that's what the period we're in, where you got to think about that. 4 days, the same amount of people that were lynched in 150 years. That's a lot of people, man. Every 4 days, continuous. So that shows you the curse of the Most High are alive and in effect. But this is a joke. It's gonna all fall upon Esau's head anyway, because he's the arm of the Lord doing it right now. But the Lord's gonna get us. He's gonna save us out of this hell, and then he's gonna put all these plagues upon Esau, because Esau's a hand that's doing it right now. He's claiming he's a good seed. He's claiming he's a children of Israel. He's taking our heritage and put it upon himself, like it tells you in Micah. But the Lord's gonna get him, because it ain't no the Lord's got your number, Esau. And you 13 banking families, Rothschild, Rockefellers, we're in your back garden, and we're gonna keep going to all your spots, and we're gonna start exposing you heavy. So this is Obadiah 1:15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, in the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau a stubble, and they shall kindle them and devour them, and there shall be not any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. Now with that, I'm going to say shalom to all the brothers out there in GMS. Stay up, man. And we got to show them, the levels, man. All these other false prophets out here, we got to come with it all the time. So shalom to the brothers out there of the election, GMS. Double honors unto the elders of GMS, the best elders you could have, to show you through the spirit of Yahweh Bar Shem Yahushai. And then ultimately all praises to Yahweh Bar Shem Yahushai. Without the powers that be, the Most High and His Son, this wouldn't be coming out, and through the elders. So we have to say shalom. Yeah. So until next time.